Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you students. This is Ishani Trivedi from LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Welcome to the session of the subject Building Construction Technology. So students, currently we are discussing the topic regarding the deep foundation. Okay, in that we are currently discussing about the type of deep foundation which is known as pile foundation. Now, by now students, you know that what is pile foundation, right? We have been discussing about the pile driving operation, that how the pile driving is carried out, how there are different methods, right? So now, today we are going to discuss about the classification of pile foundation. Okay, so the first classification, okay, the first is based on load transfer mechanism. Generally we have three different types of pile foundation, the classification, and based on that further we can move. So first of all, based on load transfer mechanism, I have already discussed in the last session classification based on function or use. Based on functions we have different types of pile foundation. Based on load transfer also we can divide it as end bearing piles and friction pile. And then when we move further to the classification based on construction material, then you can have like if it is a steel pile, it can be fender pile, right? It can be anchor piles. If it is a timber pile, then it can be a fender pile. It depends on its function, on its purpose. Also, if I talk about the Franke piles or if I talk about the Vibro piles, then if they are an example of friction piles, right, then the material classification can be any of the type of pile foundation based on function or based on load transfer mechanism. So the first parameter says we have end bearing pile and friction pile. Now, what is the difference between these two? Okay, in the end bearing pile, what we have is the pile member will be inserted into the ground up to the hard strata. Hard strata means the hard bedrock which is available at whatsoever depth. Now if it is available at not very great depth, then you can drive the pile member up to the hard strata so that its tip will be resting on the hard strata and the load carrying capacity will be derived from that hard bedrock, because when the load comes on the pile foundation, it will be transferred to the hard subsoil, hard strata, then it is known as end bearing piles. Second, we have friction pile. Now what if the hard bed or hard rock is available at a very greater depth and it is not possible to drive up to that depth? Then what you can do is you can insert the pile foundation such that friction is generated on the surface of the pile. Friction between the soil particles and the surface of the pile member. So if you are driving the pile in downward direction, then friction will be generated in opposite direction. Now this frictional resistance is going to provide the load carrying capacity to the pile member, right? The skin friction which is generated, the frictional resistance which is generated gives you the partial load carrying capacity of the pile member, and partially it is achieved from the surrounding subsoil. Okay, so this type of pile member is known as friction pile. Okay students, now moving to the next classification based on the function or on the use. I think we have already discussed this in the previous session about the fender piles, batter piles, anchor pile, sheet pile. I have shown you an illustrative image also. Moving forward to the next type of classification, which is based on construction material. Now based on material, the most important for us is the concrete piles. Okay, today we are going to discuss that in detail. Then we also have timber piles, we have sand piles, we have steel piles, right? So it depends on what type of material it is made up of. So let us first discuss about the difference between end bearing and friction pile. I think you will be able to write down the points on your own also. The first point, the very first point being that the pile member is inserted up to the hard strata. whereas in the friction pile it is not inserted up to the hard strata, right? Next, the load carrying capacity. In the end bearing pile, it is derived from the hard rock or from the tip where it is resting, and in the friction pile, the load carrying capacity is derived from the frictional resistance that is developed on the pile surface. Now, if you want to increase this frictional resistance, then we have methods. You can increase the diameter of the pile, you can increase the length of the pile, you can make the pile surface rough, right? There are numerous methods to increase this friction developed between the soil particles and the pile surface. Okay, students, so you have to study about the differences between the end bearing and friction piles. Now we are discussing about the concrete piles, right? The classification based on construction material. Now, first of all, if you want to construct a concrete pile, then we will have two different types. First will be cast in situ and second will be precast. Now, if you have cast in situ concrete pile, then it means that you will first create a borehole into the ground, then you will place the reinforcement cage, and then you will pour the concrete, right? If pile shoe is to be provided, the pile accessory which I discussed in the previous session, if the pile shoe has to be provided, then it will be attached with the casing at the at the tip, right? So after the reinforcement cage is laid, then concrete is poured and the construction work is carried out for the cast in situ type. Now here we will have two cases. What if you provide casing, right? Borehole is created, but you are providing a steel tube or a steel casing inside the borehole, and then you are placing the reinforcement and concreting work is done. So we will have two different cases. If the casing is provided, if it rests permanently with your pile member inside the ground, then it will be cast in situ concrete pile. And next, if you remove this casing, right, if you are not letting this casing stay permanently in the ground, you are removing it once the concreting work is done, then it will be an uncased cast in situ concrete pile. Now further these will be divided, the cased and uncased will be further divided, which we are going to study. Next we have is precast concrete piles, right? Now what are precast members? These are the members which are constructed, which are done in the casting yard where the concreting work is carried out. We will have molds for the same. Molds can be designed for different dimensions and size and shapes. So it will be like that the concrete member will be transferred to the site, to the pile driving site in ready to use condition. Means it will have undergone the concreting work, its curing will be done, its 28 days strength will be gained, and after proper work and execution of the concrete member, it will be directly driven into the ground. So this is helpful in case of underwater structures, right? In those cases, instead of cast in situ piles, precast pile members are preferred when you are working underwater conditions. Now we have next, first of all students, we are going to discuss about the cased cast in situ concrete piles. For the cased cast in situ concrete pile, the first type which we have is Raymond piles. Okay, now look at the image flashing just above me. What can you see, right? Now see students, if you want to understand pile foundation, then we will always understand them in stages, right? In stages of construction. So what is the first stage of construction? You can see three images over here. The first stage, second stage and third stage. If you understand just this sketch, if you understand just this sketch, then you will be able to directly understand that how this type of pile member is constructed, what is its type and how this construction works. So I suggest that you practice doing the sketches of all type of pile foundation, because if you study about the various construction stages with reference to the sketch, then it will be very much easy for you to write down the theories. So in the first stage, what we can see is that a casing is inserted into the ground. Now this casing will be attached to a core member, shell and mandrel. We will call it as shell and mandrel. Shell is the outer part, the casing part, and mandrel is the core part. Generally, this is used in lathe machines, in the mechanical workshops, right? Now, this equipment, shell and mandrel, right? The mandrel will go inside the borehole along with the shell, that is the steel tube casing outside. It will be laid into the borehole, and once the shell is detached from the mandrel will be taken back gently and the casing hence will be inserted into the borehole. That becomes your first stage of construction. Move to the second one. What can you see? That the casing is inserted in the proper alignment in the borehole. In the next stage, you can see that your concreting work is done. Okay, so now what is the difference over here? That in the Raymond piles, we can see that the top diameter is more, and as you go below downwards, the diameter is gradually decreasing. Right, so it will have its specific dimensions. This type of pile member is known as Raymond pile. Next, we are discussing about the second type of cased cast in situ concrete pile, that is your MacArthur piles. Now, what is MacArthur pile? First of all, the difference you can see over here is the Raymond pile was having diameter such that it was gradually decreasing, while here you can see that the diameter is constant throughout its length. Okay, second thing, again the shell and mandrel equipment will come into the picture, but here we will call it as core. So students, this makes your MacArthur piles, in which we will provide additional casing. Once the heavy steel casing is placed inside, then after in the second stage, when the core is removed, thin corrugated steel shell will be placed, and then this is the corrugated steel shell which is going to rest permanently into the ground with your pile members, and then the concreting work is done. So this makes your MacArthur piles. Next we are moving with the third type, that is your swage piles. The third example of the cased cast in situ concrete piles is swage pile. Now, what is swage pile? I think if you understood the Raymond piles and MacArthur pile, then you will be able to understand from the sketch itself that what is a swage pile. So what we can see over here in the first is the shell and mandrel. That equipment is going to remain common. Now what we can see over here is at the bottom. At the bottom we can see that a precast concrete member is fitted. Now this precast concrete member is having sharp edges at bottom. We can see that kind of a conical shaped precast concrete plug is prepared. Now this is fitted with the tube and it is driven into the ground with shell and mandrel, and when the mandrel is lifted back, a watertight joint is formed. Also, you can see that the conical plug is resting on the hard strata, so it is also going to provide partial support, but this is done in the case where we want a watertight joint, when you don't want to allow water to seep inside your casing. And then after your concreting work is done in general manner, in general sense, so this makes your swage pile. Once the concrete bottom plug and the steel tube is inserted into the ground, the mandrel is swaged out back, and then concreting work is done, makes your swage piles. Next, going to the last type of cased cast in situ concrete pile, that is your button bottom piles. Now see students, if you understand the swage pile, then you will be able to also understand the button bottom piles. Again, we can see over here that a precast concrete plug is provided at the bottom, but the difference you can see over here is that it is of a button shape. It is also even broad. So this is going to give you effect of a spread footing as well at the bottom. So just like the MacArthur pile, first of all, a core and shell, that is heavy steel casing, will be inserted into the ground along with the concrete button fitted at the bottom. Then after, a thin corrugated steel shell, additional casing will be provided. Then concreting work will be done and the heavy steel casing will be lifted back, and hence the thin corrugated steel shell will remain permanent with this type of member. This is known as which type of pile foundation? This is an example of a cased cast in situ concrete pile known as button bottom piles. Next students, we are moving forward with the uncased cast in situ concrete pile. Now what is uncased, right? It means that in the starting period, in the starting stages of construction, a steel casing will be inserted, will be driven into the ground for the purpose of concreting work. And once the reinforcement cage is laid and concreting work is done, the casing will be lifted back. And when it will be lifted back, your member will rest permanently into the ground along with the concrete pile member which you have constructed. Also there will be pile shoe at the bottom sometimes, right, for the partial support, for necessary support. So this makes your uncased cast in situ concrete pile. The first which you can see over here is an example of a simplex pile. Can you see at bottom pile shoe is fitted? Yes, we can see that it is going to rest with your pile member permanently, right? So what happens over here is once the casing is inserted into the ground in the borehole, reinforcement cage will be placed, concreting will be done. Now if you are tamping the concrete, if you are compacting the concrete, it will be your simplex tamped pile. And if you are not doing it, then it will be your simplex standard pile. Next, moving forward to the another type, that is your Franke piles. Again, this is an example of uncased cast in situ concrete pile. Now students, look at the clip, the explanatory clip which is flashing over here. What can we see? We can see a crane, we can see a drop hammer is attached to it, and we can see that some portion of concrete is driven into the ground with the drop hammer, just like driving the pile member. I have shown you the image, the clip regarding the inserting of pile member with drop hammer, but here the full pile member is not inserted with hammer, but you can see a fresh concrete charge which will be dry, right? That is first inserted into the ground with the help of drop hammer, right? It is pushed downwards in the ground and it will be spread at the bottom in such a way that a bulb shape will be formed or inverted mushroom shape will be formed. This gives you an effect of a spread footing to achieve the effect of inverted arch action, right? So this kind of construction is known as Franke pile. The finished construction stages you can see in the second image which is flashing just in front of you. Can you see that once the bulb shape is formed at bottom with the help of dry concrete, remaining part will be filled with concrete, the necessary designed concrete along with the drop hammer compaction, and this makes your which type of pile foundation? Franke piles. Okay students, also please mark that simplex piles and Franke piles are very commonly asked in the university exams. Now students, we are moving forward with the last part, that is the causes of failure. Now if you have understood all type of pile foundation, all types of pile members, then you will be able to write down on your own also that what can be the probable causes for the failure. So for instance, you can say that you are selecting wrong type of pile member, you are selecting wrong method of pile driving, you have done the classification of soil improper. So you can say that mixed proportion or mixed design is improper, your workmanship is not good, your concreting work is faulty, right? All of these cases are common. Apart from that, you can say if the pile member is not properly vertically aligned, if it gets inclined from its position, that is buckling of pile members, right? Sometimes overdriving can also cause damage in the pile members, which you cannot sometimes rectify in case of precast members, right? So there are lots of causes due to which the failure can take place. I think you will be able to write down because the once you are done with the full chapter, this will come automatically into your mind. Okay student, this completes your chapter of pile foundation. Have a good day. Thank you.